Well, it's all on the slates. It was all for somebody called Angela Eagle, a woman who has as much chance of defeating Jeremy Corbyn in the great election battle that will now ensue as, well, no chance. Absolutely none at all. Remember, you heard it here first. Neither she nor Tom Watson, or even the two of them standing on each other's shoulders, can measure up to Jeremy Corbyn. It is a doomed, self-disfiguring act, and I'm going to say so right now. As he has been all day, is in that studio, as he's been in every studio, knifing Jeremy Corbyn in the back. And just before he was on, somebody called Jack Straw was on doing the same thing. Jack Straw was described as a senior party figure. Why wasn't he described as a man who next week will be utterly devastated by the multi-million pound and many years of the Chilcot inquiry? I'll tell you, what kind of a coup is it that puts up Alistair Campbell and Jack Straw to speak for it? The people who are guilty as sin for all the crimes of the Iraq War and all the devastation that followed it. If ever there was an indicator of a coup that is doomed, it's a coup that chooses Alistair Campbell and Jack Straw as its peripatetic studio creepers to speak for it. So I'm in no doubt now whatsoever that Angela Eagle is going down to a very heavy landslide defeat at the hands of Jeremy Corbyn. So I'm actually going to move the conversation on a little bit. Because why have they done this? Boris Johnson has just said there will not be an early election if he's the leader. So if the coup was predicated upon the panic to get a new leader in place before Corbyn had a chance to become the Prime Minister, that just went down in flames. If the coup was predicated upon a big figure coming forward, an Andy Burnham, an Yvette Cooper coming forward as a potential Labour leader to contest this position with Jeremy Corbyn, that just went down in flames too. I mean, really? Angela Eagle? The woman that burst into tears in public on television just 2 days ago because she had such a heavy heart at doing what she was doing? Angela Eagle, whose own constituency, Labour Party, passed overwhelmingly a resolution at the weekend demanding that she support Jeremy Corbyn in the vote of no confidence today. 172 self-inflated, with a sense of entitlement that knows no bounds. 172 people today decided that they could overthrow a guy who just 9 months ago got 250,000 votes from Labour's members. And by the way, there's been a doubling of the size of the Labour Party since then. And I promise you, they didn't all join so they could get rid of Jeremy Corbyn. Certainly not for Angela Eagle. So, what's it all about, Alfie? What was this all about? Well, I know what it's about for Campbell and for Jack Straw with Chilcot just round the corner. It's about setting fires everywhere so that you could throw up enough smoke to obscure the vision, the ugly sight that you're going to see in the Chilcot inquiry report. That's what they're in it for. But what about the other 172 placemen and women? Virtually none of whom you could name. I look at the lists of these MPs, including the shadow cabinet. I tell you this, there is no Labour shadow cabinet in its entire history of 100 years, none, in which any of these people could have found a place. As I said to you last night, the Labour shadow cabinet in 1973, Harold Wilson, James Callaghan, Roy Jenkins, Dennis Healy, Tony Benn, Michael Foot, Richard Crossman, Barbara Castle, Richard Crossland. I could go on. Every one of them a potential Prime Minister. Look at the political pygmies that are resigning. People you never heard of, resigning from positions you never knew they held. It is farcical. It is pathetic. It would be laughable if it did not represent an absolute betrayal of the working people of Britain, the Labour movement in Britain, the hundreds of thousands of Labour members in Britain. So what's going to happen next? When Jeremy Corbyn secures a landslide victory in this coming leadership election, how are these people now going to look him in the face? How are they going to look their own voters in the face, their own constituency party members in the face? Are they going to ask for their pettifogging jobs back as the parliamentary private secretary to the undersecretary for paper clips? Are they going to ask for their jobs back? Or are they going to sit on the back benches and rot for the rest of their time in Parliament? I'll tell you what I think they're going to do. And moreover, what they should do. They should have the courage of their convictions. They should tell us now how they voted today. And they should tell us what they're going to do when they lose. And I'll tell you what they should do. They should form up with the people they're really comfortable with. Because they don't want any real connection to the trade unions, to the Labour members, to Jeremy Corbyn. They're much more comfortable with the brothel creepers across the other side of the aisle in the House of Commons. Let's have a reconfiguration of British politics. Let's have everyone put their cards on the table. And those Remainiacs in the Parliamentary Labour Party who want to blame Jeremy Corbyn because the EU that they so love is so hated in the country, let them go and sit on the other side of the chamber with the other Remainiacs in the Liberal Democrats and in the Conservative Party. Now let's talk about the Conservative Party. Stephen Crabb is sidling up to the starting line. Liam Fox is on the hunt. Jeremy Hunt, well, I better be careful in case I have a slip of the tongue. He's thinking about it too. Theresa May. But there's actually only one candidate, isn't there? It's Boris Johnson. It's Boris Johnson. He is so obviously head and shoulders above the others that he has to be the Tory candidate. So much so, he's just decided there isn't going to be a general election. Well, not if I've got anything to say about it. I utterly reject the idea that a Prime Minister unelected by the British people should go into these negotiations and negotiate the terms of our withdrawal from the European Union. Boris Johnson has to go before the people and face a general election, or he will have no mandate to negotiate on our behalf.